Hi there! Hey, a capo is a great tool when used properly. In this video, you'll learn everything you need to know to use this clever tool confidently and to get the most bang out of it. Hi there, I'm Thomas Michaud of Real Guitar Success. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so I can send you some more guitar lessons and help you build confidence, connect with others, and have fun. Using a capo is a valuable skill for anyone learning guitar. Fortunately, it's not difficult, though there are a few things that you'll need to know to make the most use out of this simple but powerful tool. There are many different ways to use a capo. However, most of the time, we use a capo to adjust the pitch of the song up or down to better suit the singer, either yourself or someone else. By learning to use the capo in this way, you'll actually be learning the skills that you need to use it in many other ways as well. It's kind of a three-fer. That's a twofer, but you get the idea. In this video, we'll start off with some of the basics of using a capo. Then we'll go more into depth on raising and lowering the pitch of a song using a capo. I'm going to give you a brief music theory lesson on keys as well. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, you're in the right place. Then finally, I'll give you some jam tracks that you can practice along with, and it'll be a lot more fun. The capo is kind of like a movable guitar nut. So when you make a chord, the notes on the chord where your fingers hit the guitar neck are being sounded by where your fingers hit near the fret. In other words, when I make a G chord, my third finger is on the third fret, or just before the third fret, and that's where it makes the note sound. If I let go, it's a different pitch. So in a chord, all the notes where my fingers are on the guitar neck are caused by where my fingers are being placed. But the open strings the note is being caused by where the nut is. The nut is this little white thing on the guitar just between the machine heads and the rest of the guitar neck. So a way to think of a capo is that you're moving the nut up the guitar neck. So for example, if I play a G chord and I move it up 2 frets, doesn't sound right. The notes that I'm pressing down went up 2 frets, but all the open strings stayed the same. So by putting a capo on that 2nd fret, because I moved up 2 frets, now the chord will sound right. It sounds like a chord that's moved up 2 steps. Now, I want to distinguish between what we'll call a chord form and the chord itself, or the way the chord sounds. A chord form is a fingering of a chord. For example, this is a G chord form. And without the capo, it's also a G sounding chord. But I can move that same G chord form up 2 frets, put the capo on that 2nd fret like we did before, and even though it's the same form, it's not a G chord sound anymore. By moving up 2 frets, I've gone from G to G sharp, that's 1 fret. The 2nd fret is A. It now actually sounds like an A chord, even though I'm using a G chord form. So here's another example. I'm going to play a C chord. This is a C chord form, and it's also the C chord sound without a capo. Now when I put the capo on the 2nd fret, again, and move it up, the whole form up 2 frets, it's a C chord form, but this doesn't sound like a C chord anymore. By moving up 2 frets, C, C sharp, D, it's now a D chord. And the same applies as you move the capo up and down. The sound of the chord is different, but you can still use the same chord forms. Normally when we talk about chords, we're just talking about the sound of the chords. But when we're talking about using a capo, we need to distinguish the form of a chord, the basic fingering, and the sound, because it'll be different as you move up and down. I've mentioned the word pitch already. When we say we're raising the pitch, we're making the note higher. When we say we're lowering the pitch, we're making the note lower. For example, if I have a note and I want to raise the pitch, I would go up the neck to make the note higher. I'm raising the pitch. And in reverse, if I want to lower it, I would go back down the neck. Sometimes we want to raise the pitch or lower the pitch of an entire song to better suit someone singing along with the song. It's common in that case to say we're changing the key of the song. There's a relationship between pitch and key, but they're not exactly the same thing. The main thing to know right now is that we'll be using the idea of changing the key to either raise or lower the pitch. As an example, I'm going to use a song, we'll call it, that starts with a G chord, and then it goes to a C chord, a D chord, and then back to the G chord. Now we could say that this song is in the key of G. If I wanted to raise the pitch of the song, I can put the capo on the first fret, and then play the exact same chord forms, everything up one fret. Now I've raised the pitch of the song by 1 fret. 1 fret is equal to 1 half step in music. Now the song is actually in the key of G sharp. G sharp is 1 half step away from G. So if I want to raise it a little farther, I could go up another fret. Now from the original, I've gone up 2 frets, which is 2 half steps, or 1 whole step. I've gone from G to G sharp to A now. Now even though I'm playing a G chord form, it sounds like an A chord. A C, the chord would actually be D, 1 step away from C. And this chord, which was a D chord in the previous key, now sounds like E, 1 whole step up, E. Does that make sense? So this is an easy way to raise the pitch of a song if it's a little low for the singer. But what about if the song is already too high and you want to make it lower? So now here's where things get interesting. The idea of what we're going to do is we're going to switch the chords around so that it's in a much lower key, preferably lower than we actually need it. Then we're going to put the capo on the guitar with the new chords and raise it up little by little until it's just where we want it. This is where a music theory lesson could come in handy. A simple definition of the key of a song is the chord or note where it feels like you're at home, the tonic chord we call it, home chord. So taking the key of G as an example, the G note or the G chord would feel like home. Now, you're probably going to use the G scale much of the time, and you're going to use chords that fit with the key of G. But the idea is, as you go through the song, when you get to that G chord or the G note in the melody, it feels like home. So that's the key of G. So in this case, we're going to start with the key of G. Follow along. We still got the same 3 chords, the G chord, which is the home chord, right? Tonic or home chord, a C chord, and a D chord. And we're going to jump down to a lower key, the key of D. So one way to do this or to figure it out is to go backwards on the musical alphabet and count. Let me just give a quick review of the musical alphabet. It starts with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. No, got you. There's no H. It ends at G and then you start over. A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, and so on. So we'll start with the G chord and we're going to count backwards to D. G, F, E, D. G, F, E, D. We're going back 3 notes. So now all the other chords will do the same thing. We'll take the C chord. Now we'll go back 3 notes. C is the first note. Now going back. B, what comes before B? A, G. So now in place of the C chord, we're going to play a G chord, right? So we've got a D chord, a G chord. Now that last one, originally we were playing a D chord, right? But we're going to go back 3 notes, start with D. What comes before D? C. Very good. B. Oh, you're faster than me. And A. So we're going to end up with A. Now what we've ended up with in the key of D, we're starting with a D chord. We go to a G chord and an A chord. And that's the key of D. We could say we just changed the key or transposed the song to the key of D. That's transpose is just a fancy word for we changed the key. So that's cool, huh? You now know how to transpose a song. If it is too low for our voice now, what we'll do is put the capo on, starting with the first fret, and check it out and see if it's right. By putting on the first fret, I just raised the song that's now in D to D sharp. That's 1 half step up, D sharp. Okay? And if that's still too low, I would keep going up another half step from D sharp to E, another half step. Now this song is in E. And see, I'm still playing the D chord form, the G chord form, the A chord form, but it sounds in the key of D. It's 1 full step above the D without the capo. But what if, in fact, the song wasn't low enough to start with, going down to D? Well, one of the things I could do is to transpose or change the key down even lower. In this case, let's go ahead and change it to the key of A, which is quite a bit lower. And just for practice, let's go ahead and count out those notes as well. Okay, remember your musical alphabet again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, and so on. Okay, now we're going to go from the key of G to the key of A. We could start G going backwards because we're going down. G, F, E, D, C, B, A. But one of the things that is really helpful is sometimes you can just do the same thing by going up and it's easier. In this case, A is just one step above G, and because the whole musical alphabet's in a cycle, it's the same thing. Going up one step to A is the same as going back to A. So in the case of G, I'll just go up one step, G to A. Now the new first chord will be A. That one was pretty easy, huh? Now in place of the C chord, remember we're doing G, C, and D? In place of the C chord, we're going to go up one step to D. Now that second chord will be a D chord. We've got A, D, and what's the final chord? So in the original progression, the song, it was a D chord. We're going to go up one step, D to E. Well, yeah, but we're going to play it like this with an E chord. So now we've got A is the first chord, D, E, and then we'll go back to A. That'll be the new song. We can say that we transposed the song to the key of A now. And that's quite a bit lower. What you could do now is put the capo on the first fret and start raising it up to see where you want it. Now, on the first fret, I've raised the whole key up by half a step, so it is now A sharp. If I go one more fret, it's going to be A sharp to B is the next half step. Now the song, if I play it, it'll be B. It'll sound like B, even though I'm using the same chord forms. If I go one more half step, it'll be B sharp. No, there's only, remember, a half step between B and C, so it goes to C from there. Now I've just raised the song up to C, and I only have the capo on the third fret. It's one thing to understand something intellectually like this, but it's another to be able to actually use it. Here are 3 exercises that you can use to play along with and kind of integrate this understanding. By playing and listening, it'll make more sense and it'll be much more usable. Okay, for this first exercise, we're going to start off. Let's just play the basic song in the original key of G. We'll start off with a G chord. Go ahead and just strum 4 times along with me. Then we'll go to the C chord, to the D chord, and back to the G. Now, just for fun, call this the 1 chord. Don't worry what it means for now. You may already know. Then call the C chord the 4 chord. That sounds funny. It should be 2, huh? No, 4. And then the D chord, the 5 chord. So this is the 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay? Just for fun. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord. Now we're going to put the capo on and raise this whole thing up to the key of A. First fret would be G to G sharp, 1 step, half step. And then 1 full step would be from G to A. That would be the 2nd fret. So now when I play the G chord, it's going to sound like A. The C chord form sounds like D. And the D chord form sounds like E. We're still going to call this the 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and 1 chord. Now let's play along with a backing track in the key of A. The backing track is actually playing chords A, D, and E, but we're going to play this. Let's do it. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, change. Change. D form, and back to G form. Say this out loud with me. Just repeat. 1 chord to the 4 chord, the C form, 5 chord, D, and back to the 1 chord, G. For the second exercise, we're going to play the same chord forms, that G form, the C form, and the D form, but we're going to move the capo up to the 5th fret. That's going to put it in the key of C. Follow along with me. We start with G. Up one step would be A. Up another step, 2 frets, would be B. And then we need a half step to get to C. That's the 5th fret. So let's put the capo on there. Now when you play a G chord, it's actually going to sound like a C chord. Let's try that with the backing track as well. I have a backing track in the key of C, and we're going to play the same forms, and you'll see it works. 3, 4. 4 times each. To the C form, to the D form, and the G form. That's a C chord. C, this is what I'm actually sounding, and this is going to be sounding like an F, and then G, yes, a G, believe it or not. You could also say 1, just for fun, 4, 5, and back to 1. Okay, for exercise number 3, we're going to change the chords around, and we're going to change them to the A version. Now remember we did this. The new chords will be an A chord, the D chord, and the E chord. 1 chord will be A, the 4 chord will be D, and the 5 chord will be E. So we're going to put the capo on the 3rd fret and raise this up to the key of A. Up 1 step or 2 frets would be B, and at the half step would be C. On the 3rd fret, that will make it the key of C. So now we're going to play the A form, and that will be a C chord. This is another way to play in the key of C. One of the neat things about this is if you have a hard time with the F chord, you see now you're playing the F chord without actually having to do the difficult fingering. Let's try this with the backing track. This is also in the key of C. 1, 2, 3, 4. D chord, form, D form, E form, and to the A form, which is actually a C right now. Let's do the number thing. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and the 1 chord. Hey, you're pretty good. So that's it for the exercises. I've created a couple of jam tracks that you can download, no charge, to practice along with. It's a great way to train your ears to hear these chord changes as well as to integrate these ideas. And it's a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I got a quick question for you. How advanced are you on the capo? Is this a brand new thing for you? Or have you been using a capo for a while? Let me know. Leave a comment down below this video. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.